to start off. I know you're very high on in the season wins market, and it's a team a lot of people don't really think about. It's the Virginia Cavaliers. They're opening up against one of my favorite mascots in all of Division One sports. It is Coastal Carolina, nicknamed the Chanticleers. They're fighting cocks, folks. Fighting cocks. That's what a Chanticleer is. Look it up. Pride of South Carolina. All right, so Virginia's laying 11.5 against Coastal Carolina at a -110. Juice numbers nerd. Give a little preview on this one. The Football Power Index is tracked by ESPN. Has UVA at number 67, projected to win 6.5 games this season. Coastal at number 101, projected to win 5.2. Look at the analyst.com, the offensive rating projection. Virginia at number 75 nationally. Coastal at number 110. Meanwhile, defensively, Virginia at number 61. Coastal Carolina at 114. So based on those measurements, you would think blowouts, but are you buying that is going to be the end result in this game? So Virginia -11.5 against Coastal Carolina. Fade or follow?
Yeah, I'll go against the market here, man. This actually opened 12.5. So Coastal, the Chanticleers have actually taken a little bit of money here. But I like Virginia. Like you said, I did bet them over 6.5 wins. I think they win 8 games. I think they get back to a bowl game. I like their offseason. They bring in Chandler Morris. Last year, top 10 in yards, touchdown passes, and total offense. Granted, it was at North Texas. I do like him. And UVA, that was their problem last year, the offensive side of the ball. They were outside the top 100. They only averaged 22.7 points per game. But they bring in Jaden Thomas from Notre Dame. I like the running back room. You know, Xavier Brown's back. He had nearly 500 yards last season. And their defensive front should be solid. Meanwhile, Coastal Carolina, last year they started 3-0, but then they lost 6 of their last 8 games. And look at the teams that they beat. Jacksonville State, William and Mary, Temple, Old Dominion, and then they lose to Virginia last year, 43-24. This is a better Virginia team. They lost to James Madison. They lost to Louisiana, Troy, Marshall, and Georgia Southern. And then they go to the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and they get blown out 44-15 to UTSA. So give me Virginia here. I think they win this game by at least 2 scores.
All right, the Cavaliers got a swashbuckle to a cover, according to Ryan Horvat, laying the 11.5. All right, let's move on to a more marquee matchup. Certainly a pair of brand name powerhouses in college football. Clemson laying 3.5 against LSU at a -110. Juice numbers nerd says this. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, Clemson number 16 in the country, projected to win 9.1 games this year. Meanwhile, LSU at number 12 in the FPI, projected to win 7.7. Though you're very high on the Tigers. The offensive rating at theanalyst.com, Clemson projected to be number 25 in the country. LSU at number 3. Defensive rating, Clemson projected to be number 17, LSU number 16. So again, with that information coursing around in the background, Clemson -3.5 against your LSU Tigers. You're not going to fade them, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. Fade or follow?
I'm excited for the game, but I love both of these teams. I got Clemson winning the ACC and winning the Natty, one of my Natty bets. And then I have LSU over 8.5 wins. My, the reason behind that bet is if Brian Kelly doesn't win 9 games, man, there's a good chance they'd run him out of town. Coach O won a national title, and he was gone the next year or 2 years later. I bet LSU at 4. Anything over a field goal, I like. I think they keep this game within a field goal. I don't know that they win it outright, but this is a big game for Brian Kelly and LSU. They haven't won a week 1 game forever. It's also a big game for Clemson. Last year, 0-3 against the SEC. That was Dabo's bugaboo. I'm going to be on an island here, man. Everybody likes Clemson, and I like the team a lot too, but I think LSU is live in this game. Everybody's going to talk about how Brian Kelly hasn't won a week 1 game, but I like this roster. Garrett Nussmeier should be a top 5 pick at the quarterback position. Last year, over 4,000 yards through the air, 29 touchdown passes. They bring back their leading rusher in Caden Durham, was first-team all-freshman last year. 753 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns. And they also have Aaron Anderson back, caught 61 balls, 800 yards last year. They bring in Nick Anderson from Oklahoma. If he could just stay healthy, he could be wide receiver number 1. As a freshman, had 10 touchdowns at Oklahoma and then missed last year with an injury. The only way I think LSU gets blown out here or doesn't cover the 3.5 is if Nussmeier just lays an egg. Rob Brown talked about this last night. He's got to be better in the big games. Last year, they lost to Texas A&M, Alabama, and Florida. In those losses, he only completed 57% of his passes, threw 5 picks, and LSU only put up 17 points per game in those losses compared to the 38 they averaged the other 9 games of the season. Now, they do have to replace 4 offensive linemen, including Will Campbell, who was the top tackle taken in the NFL draft. But I think the defense should be better, man. Weeks is back. Harold Perkins comes back off that injury. They move him to the star position. I think he's going to get after the quarterback. And like I said, I like Cade Klubnik. I like this Clemson offense, but I think this is going to be a close game, a field goal game. So I will take the +4 or the +3.5 with LSU and be on an island by myself.
All right, you're going to fade the Clemson Tigers, laying the 3.5 right now on BetMGM at a -110 juice. Let's go out west. Game I'm fascinated by. Utah laying 6 at UCLA at a -115 juice. According to the Football Power Index, Utah at number 45, projected to win 6.3 games. UCLA not that far off of that pace at number 51, projected to win 5.2 games. The offensive rating forecasted by the analyst, Utah at number 100 on the dot, UCLA at number 54, but defense, that's the story really not only for Utah, but also for the Bruins. The Utes at number 27, the projection nationally. UCLA at number 32. So Utah laying 6, and this has come down. I think it was 8, what I saw a couple of days ago at UCLA. So Utah -6 at UCLA, -115 juice. Horvey, fade or follow?
Yeah, I feel like if it's 8 or if it's over a touchdown, it's a different conversation. And maybe I play some UCLA to keep this game close at home to start the season, year 2 for Deshaun Foster. But I like Utah. And you brought it up, man. It's the defense. Never an issue, even last year. They were a top 25 defense last season. They only gave up 20 points per game. And they should be better this year. They bring back 4 starters. Fano's back. Hall's back on the defensive line. They combined for 73 tackles and 3.5 sacks. Since replacing Urban Meyer in 2005, Kyle Whittingham's had 3 losing seasons, and he always bounces back, man. So I think Utah is going to be pretty good this year. I think they're live to win the Big 12. I like what they did in the offseason. They bring in Devin Dampier, a transfer from New Mexico, to play quarterback. Finally, they could put the Cam Rising stuff to rest. He was the quarterback there for a decade, but he was never healthy. And Dampier, granted it was at New Mexico, he's the only quarterback in school history there to be named All-Mountain West. So if that translates to the Big 12, I think he could be a stud. Last year, 2,768 yards passing, also ran for 1,166. And UCLA, they're just an unknown, man, because I don't know if Deshaun Foster is a good coach. They fire Eric Bieniemy as OC, and every starter on the defense is pretty much gone. They gave up 340 yards per game. They were 39th nationally last year, but they're all gone. Only 1 starter back on defense, 3 on the offensive side of the ball. But there's some hype because Nico Imaliava came over. But give me Utah. Anything under a touchdown, I think they win this game by exactly a touchdown. So I like the Utes here, -6.
All right, going with the defensive-minded Utah Utes, laying the 6 on the road in L.A. All right, last, we got South Carolina laying 7.5 against Tech at a -110 juice. Numbers nerd says, you look at South Carolina, according to ESPN's Football Power Index, at number 11, projected to win 7.9 games. Virginia Tech at number 32, projected actually to win more games, which is odd, at 8.1. At theanalyst.com, the offensive rating projection for South Carolina at number 16, Virginia Tech at number 60. Defensively, at number 10 for the Gamecocks, number 33 for the Hokies. Again, with all that information at your disposal, what do you say? South Carolina -7.5 against Virginia Tech at a -110 juice. Fade or follow?
You know what's funny about South Carolina? Like, I went boom with them by taking Lenora Sellers to win Heisman, because if they win 9 to 10 games, I think he's in the running. But everybody loves them. They won, what was it, like 9 games to close out the season. But still, Their win total's only 7.5, and they went from being a 9.5, 10-point favorite down to almost only a touchdown against Virginia Tech. I love Lenora Sellers. I just think they're a little overrated. They finish great run, finished with 9 wins. Like I said, they just missed out on the college football playoff. 5 starters back on offense, 4 on defense. I don't know, man. Like, I like Dylan Stewart, 6.5 sacks, 10.5 tackles, but I worry a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Last year's team had 3 players from the defensive line chosen in the first 4 rounds of the draft. They lose all that talent up front. And I actually want to buy low on Virginia Tech. I'm not a big fan of their head coach, Brent Pry. I don't know how you could be. He's 16-21 in 3 years as head coach. But I like the moves that they made. They brought in Philip Montgomery to take over a play caller. He coached at Tulsa, ran some high-scoring offenses while he was at Houston, Baylor, and Auburn as well. I think he's going to get the most out of Drones. He struggled last year. Everybody was betting him as a dark horse Heisman candidate, but he had a lower body injury, which is never good for a dual-threat quarterback. They do have to replace all 5 starters on the offensive line, their top 3 receivers and starting running back, but I kind of like them in this game to keep it close, man. So give me Virginia Tech, anything over a touchdown, plus 7.5.